Hello everybody and welcome, this is Guru Gamimer here, and today we're gonna be reviewing our beloved Warband mod, Prophecy of Pendor.
I have a lot of questions. Number one, how dare you?
In this review we're gonna be looking at 9 different categories and rate each category out of 10. This review will be my personal opinion, so don't throw tomatoes at me or anything. This is just my personal opinion.
Aren't you something?
So the first category we'll be looking at is the lore or the story of Prophecy of Pendor. I actually still remember the first time I played Prophecy of Pendor. I was so intrigued by the story that I read on the web for like 3 or 4 hours just reading about the stories and the gods of Pendor. I think they have done quite a decent job in the lore or in the story, so I'm gonna give them 9 out of 10 because just there's still a margin for improvement.
Yes, that's true.
The second category we'll be looking at is the map. And in my opinion, Prophecy of Pendor is one of the very few total conversion mod that did this quite decently. Because as we've seen in most total conversion mod, they tend to overextend the map so that if you want to travel from one end to the other, you may take 3 to 4 in-game days, which is...
Ain't nobody got time for that.
So in my opinion, the size of the map in Prophecy of Pendor is just right. They have the right number of castles, towns, and villages. And also what I really respect about the map of Pendor is that it has natural borders. So let's say, for example, the end for the Ravenstein is the mountain, and then you have another mountain for the Noldor and the Jatu area, and then you have a vast desert into the Shire, and then other parts are covered with water. So I think it's really good, and especially the lake between the Ravenstein and Salaron, although that it's a little bit weird, but at the same time I think it adds some sort of uniqueness to the map of Pendor, and this is why I really love the map of Pendor. In the map category I'm gonna give them 10 out of 10 because I don't think that it can be improved even more than that. It's just perfect like that. Moving on to the next category is the factions. And for Prophecy of Pendor we have major and minor factions. And in my opinion this is really good because most of factions are really balanced with introduction of knighthood orders. Because let's say if we look at the Fyrdsvain, who don't have any sort of basic cavalry, but at the same time they have Knights of the Valkyrie and they have Knights of the Dawn and the Sergeants of the Kraken, so they have some sort of cavalry support. Although that we can argue that the Empire or the Ravenstein are the strongest factions in the game, but also I think it's very balanced.
Why the fuck you lying?
Another thing that I really loved about Prophecy of Pendor is that they added a new faction for your kingdom, which is really unique, and I really loved that. So in the factions category I'm gonna give them 9 out of 10 because there's also another small margin of improvement that can be done. Moving on to the next category, we'll be looking at the items of the game, and I'm talking about horses, weapons, and armor. And to be honest, I'm gonna be a little bit harsh on them for this time, but if we look at horses, it's perfectly good. All the mounted creatures are perfectly fine. There's no elephants, no camels, no wacky stuff that looks different than a horse but acts as a horse. So this is why I really respect them for not adding anything other than horses. And they have quite a decent variety of horses, fast or slow or tanky, you name it. Every option is available for the player, for the horses. For armor, they also did a very good job by adding many options and variations that you can choose from, and especially with introduction of mystical armor, you can have whatever you want. And this is why I think horses and armor are really great. But if we look at weapons, and this is what really hurts me.
See, nobody cares.
In my opinion, all of the weapons are directing the player to choose one-handed weapon, maybe a shield, and then bow and arrows. There is no decent options for two-handed weapons, for bow-arm, throwing weapons, or even crossbows.
You're goddamn right.
Okay, before continuing, I really enjoy and I really respect the addition of ruin weapons, but at the same time I think you don't have enough options.
Paralyzed by greed.
You have multiple unique weapons that are one-handed. You have 2 bows, but you only have 1 lance and 1 two-handed weapon, which is the Vein axe. Even if you look at the Ruin weapons, you have one-handed sword, one-handed axe, and then two-handed polearm and bow. You don't have crossbow, you don't have throwing weapons. What I wanted to say is that there is still a huge margin for improvement in the weapons, especially in the Ruin weapons. I really want to see more options for the Ruin weapons. Maybe a two-handed blunt weapon, something like a hammer or something, or a crossbow that can shoot 5 arrows at a time, or maybe even reloaded each 10 bolts or something.
Are you normal?
I want to see some special throwing weapons. Even if you don't want to add new weapons, you can add just an ammo bonus, something a little bit different for the players, or maybe even adding something for the firearms, since you already introduced it for Parkley, so why don't have multiple variations?
I am
So
outraged.
I really think they should add more options, especially for the in-game. I'm talking about decent weapons. To be honest, without introduction of Ruin weapons, I'm gonna give them 5 out of 10. But for the Ruin weapons, I'm gonna give them 7 out of 10. Moving on to the next category is the unique quests. And I'm not talking about the quest that you get from a Lord or maybe the Guild Master. I'm not talking about these. I'm talking about the unique quests of this mod, especially like the Old Tale quest, the Barding quest, and the Ghost Lady quest. The 3 quests that we have faced in our series. And I think these quests really interesting and adds a lot of uniqueness to this mod.
In a cosmic sort of way, yes.
Yeah, I really think they can improve more on that, but I also think that they have done quite a decent job. So I think I'm gonna give them in this category 9 out of 10. Because again, there is a small margin of improvement that can be done. Moving on to the next category is cities and castles layout. To be honest, I don't care about this one, because I can't remember the vanilla Mountain Blade. Of course, in the series we have faced some strange layouts, but I don't think that there's something that really needs to be fixed in the layout, so I think 9 out of 10 will be fair. Moving on to the next category will be the overall experience, and by overall experience I'm talking about how smooth this mod plays without many bugs or glitches or that stuff. I actually played this mod on my very old PC and it was really good, with no crashes, no bugs, no any major issues with this mod. So my overall experience is 10 out of 10 for this mod, for not a single crash.
That's unhealthy.
Moving on to the next category is the Wiki Support, and this is one of the few mods, or maybe the only mod, that has a full Wiki Support. You know, most of the time you may want to see if you want to use throwing weapons, or maybe even choose what companions will join you.
It's only a game.
The wiki is very helpful for this, and it's nearly full. There are few pages that are missing, but other than that, it's nearly full Wiki Support. So I really respect that, and I'm gonna give them 9 out of 10 because there are still some pages missing, but other than that, they also did a great job. Moving on to the next category, and the last category is the unique features. And without saying anything, this category has to take 10 out of 10.
That's a 10.
Because let's face it, Prophecy of Pendor is bombarded with unique features. Talking about minor factions, knighthood order, even custom knighthood order, ruin weapons, unique items, quality gems, snake cult fortress where you can even improve your items. This is great. The Noldor feature is also really good, and the Noldor tournaments. The idea of gods and gods speaking to you is also great. Unique spawns is another great feature. The city chests is also another great feature. And I can go on and on and on. There are a lot of unique features that are very special to this mod. And this is why I chose this mod to be my first mod to be played as a series on this channel. So The overall rating for Prophecy of Pendor Warband mod will be 9.1 out of 10. This is a little bit mathematical, but yeah. This is very high rating, to be honest, for a mod.
Oh my god! Wow!
And that will be it for this review.
See, nobody cares.
I thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and stay tuned for the next one.